Remains 20 feet from the bench.
This idea of making Oakland a no spanking zone is an interesting one. Next week, Jordan Riak of Danville will ask the Oakland City Council to make that declaration and begin placing signs around town stating that spanking teaches kids to be violent. There would be no criminal penalties involved if a parent did spank within the city limits. Not that it would deter a parent who wants to spank his kid anyway. They just drive the kids out of town to whack them. As soon as we get to Emeryville, your behind is mine. I guess there are good arguments on both sides of the spanking issue. Teaching kids to be violent is something that we definitely should avoid at all costs. On the other hand, not all kids who are spanked turn out that way. I used to get whipped with switches when I was a kid. My grandmama would go outside and pull up a redwood tree to correct me when I got out of line. It hurt, but I never repeated the offense again. Try that today, parents, and you will go to jail. I can't spank my kids. I just feel too guilty. I guess talking with your kid is always best, but the question remains, what do you do when... Well, given that, how far should you be able to go to protect it from invaders? Case in point, Leonard Miller has a getaway cabin in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Since it's a vacation property, it's vacant for long periods of time, and as a result, it's an easy target for burglaries, 4 in the last 2 years. Well, Miller had finally had enough and decided to take matters into his own hands. He MacGyvered some booby traps in the place. He rigged a string that ran from the front doorknob to a shotgun. In his shed, which is where he keeps an all-terrain vehicle, he rigged a steel beaver trap. Well, the trap worked when Arlen Zuch, a career burglar, jimmied the front door only to get 2 legs full of buckshot. Zuch was arrested and charged with a felony. Good, right? Well, here's the kicker. Miller was also charged with a felony. Law enforcement in the area say that the booby traps amounted to unreasonable force. Excuse me? I'm sorry, but if you break into somebody's house, you get what you get, and it ain't always going to be Grandma's silver. Charging Miller to me is like the burglar suing because he slipped on the kitchen floor while he was ripping you off. If he hadn't been committing the crime in the first place, he wouldn't have been hurt. All right, tell me, am I right or am I wrong on this one? Should the cabin owner have been charged for booby trapping his property? Email me today at copey@crl.com, and we'll see what you had to say in a future corner. I'm Brian Copeland. The latest Kennedy tragedy. I'd like to say a few words about the coverage. Now, is it mean, or was the media simply engaged in a case of overkill? Emotions and visions of Camelot aside, John Kennedy Jr. was not a government official. He was not the President of the United States. He was a private citizen, granted from a world-famous family, but a private citizen nonetheless. A couple hundred private planes go down in this country every year, most of them we never hear about. What justified wall-to-wall coverage of this one for a week? Well, let me rephrase that. What justified redundant wall-to-wall coverage for a week? It was like, the Kennedy plane is down. Then 4 hours later, the Kennedy plane is still down. Well, thank you for that valuable piece of information. You had hundreds of reporters at the Kennedy compound in Hyannisport basically covering a group of white buildings. We've been here for 3 days and still no one has come out. Well, take the hint. Let these people grieve in peace. It was ridiculous. I mean, it's not like a washed-up ex-football player was...